I wanted to do a segment concerning the right of flag burning. So we're going to listen to a clip actually from a FedEx driver who had intervened in a flag burning in Iowa City, and then right after we listen to it, we'll come back and break it all down.
Clothes you have on your back was provided that flag. It's right now. I don't agree with Trump, no. But is not how you unite a country.
I caught up with Paul Osgerby, who was seen protesting here in the cowboy hat. Why did you feel that it was necessary to burn an American flag?
I think it's important to recognize that we were not trying to incite violence with our actions. A lot of people want to look at the flag one-dimensionally. They want to look at it as a symbol of freedom and liberty that our military fights for. But a lot of people don't want to accept the baggage that comes with the flag, and that is centuries of genocide against Native Americans, centuries of racial slavery against African Americans.
Telling me burning the flag started a conversation.
A lot of people that were driving on the street here, a lot of people walking by had to witness and listen to our message.
FedEx driver Matt Urin trying to stop the protest.
You don't like it, get the out.
The flag burning, not something Osgerby is apologizing for. Is this something that you would do again?
Yeah.
Okay, so after listening to that clip, I want everybody to know that pretty much my position on flag burning is, at the very least, for me personally, I don't necessarily think that I would personally go around burning flags. That's not my way of protesting, but I'm pretty indifferent about it. So if a person or a group actually chooses to burn the flag as a means to protest a particular issue, then I have absolutely no problem with it whatsoever. I have a different means of going out and protesting, but I think the important thing is to some people to take a step back and look at the situation in a broader perspective. For one of the things that is being said about this particular incident is that they're anti-veteran, or they're burning the flag as a this flag that people attribute to all of the hardships that have been endured by your ancestors, following up to the point of where you are now, to where you can take advantage of those such freedoms, such as having the right to express to have the freedom of speech. And if you really think about that line of argument, because there's slightly different versions of that same argument, that for someone to say that you that flag represents all the hardships that American soldiers have went through in order for you to take advantage of those freedoms, you can't necessarily say that you are an advocate for those values if you are acting in a way to obstruct somebody else from taking advantage of those said freedoms. So if somebody is taking advantage of freedom of speech, and you're saying you can't destroy that flag because that flag represents those hardships, then why would you go and instruct somebody else's ability to take advantage of that freedom? That doesn't that makes no logical sense at all. Now, for other people who are saying this is anti-veteran, the angle, at least in this particular gentleman's situation, he wasn't actually making a message that was actually directed towards veterans at all. In fact, actually had absolutely nothing to do with veterans. It was due to social injustice, but most specifically due to like situations like the Dakota Access Pipeline, with it being put back on track when Donald Trump actually passed the executive order to fast track it, which is a very controversial situation. So I think so. Let me go a little bit further to describe why some people protest in the first place and why they use means such as flag burning. Um, and I think some people miss the point that they think that in their view, that in their eyes, they only envision the flag in one particular respect, and that is in respect to that background. So for some people who have been in the service, like with my mom in the army and my dad in the Marines, they have one particular view of the flag, and of course, as an individual, that is actually what's going to happen. You actually have a particular viewpoint as to how you would see a situation. But keep in mind that there are a number of there are millions and millions of people out here in the U.S., and they have a number of different viewpoints as to how they view the flag. So, for example, for some people in that particular case with those guys, uh, they were protesting on the behalf of the Native Americans who are being trampled on by the corporations who went through all of that trouble to actually fight them off, and eventually Obama came back and said, "Yo, you know what, we're not going to proceed along with this." And in that particular case, for those people who burnt the flag in their situation, in my opinion, they would have been right. But in other people's situations, there's this more of this fetishization that's going on, of where they're looking past the point of why to burn the flag, and more, or they're not necessarily looking past the flag, and they're looking at the very symbol that itself and saying, I don't like the fact of how you're going about doing it, instead of looking at the fact of, okay, well, why are we doing it? Why are they engaging in this kind of behavior? Why are they trying to offend me? That's the point. The point is whenever you're protesting, is to offend somebody who is not aware of the problem, to bring them in and say, okay, what the hell was the problem? That's the whole point. That is why Kaepernick took a knee. That's why you have the flag burning situation. It's meant to be provocative. So with these problems that have been going on for longer and longer, for some people they'll say, well, there's another way that you could have went about protesting. But the thing is that these problems have been going on for quite some time. Police shootings of black people have been going on for quite some time. So the problem is that when people say that crap about, well, why does Kaepernick take a knee when he can just protest in a different way? These problems have been going on for quite some time, and people have been telling you. So they say, you know what, screw it. We're just gonna pivot, and we're gonna do something else, and we're gonna put it in your face and make you listen. And with people like these half-ass journalists, like like a Tommy Lauren, are just more concerned about the fact that her flag has been desecrated, and less about the fact that you have people out there getting murdered, and which is baffling when you're more concerned about this mass manufactured product that you can easily replace with like $5, as opposed to standing up for the values that you attribute this flag to, and the fact that there are people who are out there getting murdered. You're more concerned about the flag than these people. Then you have some very, very, very deep problems. But don't get the wrong idea. There are, in fact, some people out there who do actually desecrate the flag for the purposes of terrorism. So I don't want to necessarily conflate them all as if they are the same. So in every situation, you need to evaluate it and try to figure out the context as to why it's actually going on. But this very, very broad stroke situation that's happening, of where people are automatically painting others as though they're anti-American. And even if you listen to the clip a little bit further, you hear the FedEx driver say, if you don't like it, go home. Or actually, no, not go home. You said just leave. if if every single problem through history was resolved like that, if you don't like it, then you can leave. Then those hardships that you're speaking about, that flag is attributed to, means absolutely nothing. We would have not gotten anywhere close to the progress that we are right now if every single problem that we've encountered through history, we just simply said, you know what, you don't like it, go fuck yourself, get the fuck out of here. You don't need to be around here. So the point of these protests is to bring people in and to have a civil discourse to figure out what the problems are. So instead of being dismissive and saying, well, if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. I like it the way it is right now. Why don't you at least sit down with the people and have a conversation with them? Because they're not going to go away. If you're going to sit there and obstruct people from being able to take advantage of their freedom of speech, they're just going to hammer down and do it even more and more. So that's my take on it. But I am a supporter of them burning the flag if they so choose to. It's not my thing. It's not that it offends me or anything. I don't care. It's not my thing though. But I am totally in support of what they're doing.